I apologize in advance if there's any barking in the background. I am dog sitting right now, friend's husky, and my dog does not get along too well with them. So hopefully they're gonna play nice while we're talking. But if they do bark, I apologize.
Sounds good. Sounds good. No, I'm sure it's great. Do you want me to flip on the camera, or are you
Yes,
good?
please.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do that real quick for you. Yeah. So handle that, and then while you do that, I will make the formal introduction for you. So thank you guys, everyone, by the way, who's stayed. And this is our last presentation. I know we slotted it for around just under 2 hours. Looks like we're gonna finish that in time with 10 minutes to spare. And again, thank you everyone for joining, but definitely stick around for this last one. Matt is an absolute rock star, someone I consider a good friend of mine as well. And let me give the formal intro here, Matt. So Matt Prepis is the Director of Business Development at Smartsites, which is a leading Shopify SEO B2B agency in the US. And then his presentation today is going to be top strategies for acquiring organic traffic. And of course, the fun fact, having a baby in December. Whew. Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Can you guys see my screen?
Looks great. I'm gonna hand it off to you.
All right, cool. So yeah, first and foremost, thanks guys for organizing this. It's a really fun event. I'm looking forward to coming back tomorrow, especially after hearing all these cool talks from earlier. I always find it being an agency a little bit different than technology companies like you guys. You guys are so far advanced from what we do. We are much more manual in terms of the work that we do, but they're important factors nonetheless. So that's why we're here to talk about it. One thing to note regarding SEO, I think, or organic strategies rather, I do think they are very important. With Black Friday, Cyber Monday just right around the corner, it can be tough to make big shifts in your organic improvements because it does take a while for Google to understand what you're doing. But keep in mind, whether you start today or tomorrow, you're working to improve your business and website for the long term. Quick note about Smartsites. We have been growing a lot in the past 10 years. We just had our 10-year anniversary in April. We've grown from a team of 5 to a team of 200. We've really have a strong relationship with partners like Recart who allow us to do events like this. Not the first time that Nick and I have spoke together, and I'm sure not the last. And we're really looking forward to this opportunity. No need to give a background on myself. Nick definitely did that already. We'll talk about the offers towards the end of the presentation, but you can kind of get a glimpse of what we're going to be offering here. All right, so let's jump right in. So what we're going to be talking about today are some of the top strategies for acquiring or driving organic traffic. So there are 4 things that we're going to be going over, which is going to be product page improvement, content reuse or recycling, as we might call it, backlink creation, and how to improve your Google listings. Some people actually already touched upon these things, which is really exciting, and I'm here to reinforce, maybe offer a different perspective on some of these events. So before we get into these strategies, let's talk about SEO and what it is. SEO is super complex, and Google admitted, I think last year alone, they made over 500 changes to the algorithm and the way they rank websites. But if you really were to boil down what they look at into kind of the most simple form, it comes down to really 3 things. One is on-site pages. We're going to be focusing a lot on content today as part of the discussion, multiplied by the quality and quantity of off-site links you have pointed to your site. We'll touch briefly on backlinks later. And lastly is having a very technically sound website. So those are the 3 things that really Google looks at when they're trying to decide if they're going to be ranking company A, company B, or company C. So let's jump into where to start before we even get into those tips. There are so many tools and resources out there that we use and companies, agencies use to really understand the landscape. When we go into any new relationship, we utilize tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, SpyFu to really understand the competition and kind of the landscape as a whole. So we recommend before doing any sort of marketing, whether it's paid, organic, or anything, to start with keyword research. For today's presentation, we'll be focusing on Ahrefs, which gives us a really good understanding of a few things. One, there's a big disconnect, in my opinion, between what we think our customers are looking for versus what they're actually searching for. So tools like Ahrefs allow us to kind of fill in those gaps. If we think customers are searching for keyword A, but in actuality, they're searching for keyword B, we're going to want to probably make a strategy to go after both keywords simultaneously. One is the one that is important to us, and the other is important to you as a business, because that's really where the search volume is coming from. Other stuff you can do is to dig deep into individual keywords. So this Keyword Explorer tool allows us to see kind of our main primary keyword and what else might be associated with it. So we have, let's say, one top level keyword. We create a web of additional sub or related keywords, which will help us not just target kind of that one white whale that we have, but also all those little ones which are going to add up to a lot of valuable traffic. So I definitely recommend trying not to keep yourself too laser focused on one specific keyword or goal, but really utilize to understand what people are searching and how that can add up to a lot of valuable traffic. And last is just understanding where you are at currently. So this tool, and the reason I'm showing you this now, is because it's going to allow you to better understand what you're currently ranking for, what pages you're ranking for, and maybe how you can understand, how to maximize these pages or these content that are already doing really well for you. All right. Now with that, we'll jump into tip 1 of 4. So content is really important. We talked earlier about landing pages, which I wholeheartedly agree with is really important. Having a strong message and converting those customers is where landing pages are going to be, a big part of it. Using tools like Recart to actually convert them once they're on the site, again, very important. But in order to drive them to your site initially, you have to be relevant. So the way to do that is by creating really good content. What I've seen many times throughout various e-commerce businesses is one of two things. One, content is taken maybe directly from a manufacturer if it's not your own product. And what that does is cause duplicate content, which means you're really not going to rank too well for that keyword because someone else is already using it. Two, the content that is there, if it is unique, is often very short or very non-descriptive. So if you are able to expand upon your product, your offering, why it's important, how it's used, things like that. I believe Pagefly also recommended FAQs, which we'll talk about later. These are all things that are going to help set your page apart and give you more opportunities to rank for those specific relevant keywords, which might be important. FAQs, I just mentioned before, there are a lot of benefits to FAQs. One, it helps remove any doubt as to whether or not maybe you should be purchasing this. If you have a question in your head and you're not able to quickly answer it, it's a possible turnoff and maybe a reason why someone might not choose your product versus someone else. The other is now, if you go to Google and ask for a question, let's say it's related to a fit or whatever product you might be selling, at the top, you're probably going to see paid ads, which I know there's a separate conversation about later or tomorrow rather, but you're also going to see this relatively new section called People Also Ask. And what that is a curated list of questions and answers from around the web. So what Google is doing is actually crawling websites, seeing who's answering these questions in the best way possible, and actually ranking them directly in search for that question and answer. So we can work with you guys to better understand what your clients are asking using those same tools you mentioned before, and then create really good content to answer that. And the last piece to this is really putting the correct schema tags on these pages, because even if you've built out FAQs, you have reviews, if you don't have the proper schema tags to, support what you've done so far, really Google's not going to be able to effectively read and understand your page. The added benefit is if you do it properly, you can actually see the results directly in a Google search, and it makes your particular listing stand out even more. Keep in mind that with organic, you're not paying for these clicks. So the more real estate you can take up by using these schema tags, the more likely it is that someone's going to click on your listing versus someone else. All right, next we'll talk about content. So content, I think, is something that's very important to anyone. Obviously, it's an effective way of driving traffic. It's a great way to understand and set you aside as an expert in the field. And you may know some of the top pages you are ranking for. If you don't, go back to that first step we mentioned, trying to understand where your traffic is coming from and understand what these pages are and maybe why they're ranking. And what you want to do is maybe reuse the pages that are doing well. We'll talk about that in a second, or improve upon the pages that aren't doing so well. So if you notice that maybe certain content is not ranking, or maybe it's receiving very low traffic, rethink what you've done there so far, maybe add content to it, and just really try and make it a better experience to hopefully in the future make it a better performing page. So when we talk about reusing content, I think that is a question that a lot of people ask, like, how do I do that in an effective way? So let's just say, for example, you have a blog post that is doing really well and it generates, 10% of your traffic. You really want to capitalize on that content because it seems to be important to your audience. So you can turn that one blog post into dozens of different things. What we'll talk about here is just 4. One is an infographic. So infographics are a great way to create visual content, something that's also really easily shareable, which connects to the next one, which is social posts. And if you notice that a certain blog post is doing well, use social media to kind of get the word back out about it, and use that same new content you're building, like infographics, to really improve upon it. If you want to try and get even more from it, if you notice, hey, how can I get, let's say, 10% of my traffic to 12% using the same content, you can build upon it by creating new and better content. A good way is through FAQs, kind of building upon what you have already to make an even better post. And then if you notice that the content is so good, it's being shared, it's really being, people ask a lot of questions about it, you can do something like this, where you create a webinar about that one specific topic. Now you have not just one really great blog post, you have 4 additional evergreen pieces of content, which can be continually used, watched, shared, and really help your brand stand apart. So when you think about creating content in the future, don't just think about what you're doing today, but how you might use it again in the future. All right, next talk about backlinks, which is another big part of SEO and kind of determining your ranking factor. Backlinks are something that has a bit of a bad rap from some people because people associate it at times with spammy practices, but when done correctly, it can be really effective. So there are tons of types of links that can be built. 2 that I'll be focusing on are competitor links and coupon links, since we are talking e-commerce. So there are, with any brand, usually a sizable amount of competition. Even some of the higher industry players have companies that might be spending more on marketing, whether paid or organic, and have been doing it for longer. So what we can do is actually use the same tools as before, SEMrush, Ahrefs, SpyFu, to really understand what strategies have they done in the past, try and see if any of these strategies are relevant to your business, and then start reaching out to them. So if you notice that 5 of your brand competitors are all being linked from one website, you might say, hey, why aren't we listed here? What can we do to be listed here? And do that sort of manual outreach. Others are coupons. Coupons are important for any e-commerce brand. Of course, you don't want to create discount codes just for the sake of creating a discount if it's not within your brand. But if you are doing any sort of seasonal promotion, even if it's something as small as free shipping or a certain % off, whatever it might be, take that same content and submit it to places like coupons.com, Retail Me Not, which will do a few things rather. One, it will put you in this website or directory, which will hopefully drive some referral traffic of people who maybe aren't familiar with their brand previously, and allow them to find your website, go to it, and hopefully purchase. Additionally, some people search for products or discounts before they make a checkout. So if your website doesn't have something and they, let's say, go to coupons.com trying to find it, they may get turned off and find one of your competitors who are listed there. And third and finally, it builds more backlinks. So there's a lot of added benefits to why coupon code promotion and distribution could make sense. And lastly, we'll talk about Google free listings. So I'm sure during the presentation tomorrow, they'll be talking about product listing ads, which are very effective and very important. Very recently, Google has now allowed you to take those same listings and put them in Google Shopping for free. When it first started, it was completely free. Then it went to a fully paid service. And now there's actually a combination of both. So by doing this, it basically allows you to drive more and more in free traffic. So everyone loves free traffic. And here you can see some of the effects of why being in Google free listings are important. Even if it isn't a ton of traffic, these are clicks that you may have never gotten previously. It's something that I think everyone will be happy to have, and it's very easy to set up. All right, so that's everything on my end. I'll take questions in a second if there are any, but just want to talk about the offers we have. One is a $250 Amazon gift card for anyone that signs up for our services before Black Friday. The other is a free SEO analysis. Sorry, I said PPC audit, free SEO analysis. Happy to kind of review strategies that you're doing currently and give you my 2 cents about how we can help. And one last plug that I want to share with anyone here. It's only applicable for people who are running ads on Google or Facebook and not yet Microsoft, but we are Microsoft advertising partners, and we're hosting an event with them on October 21st. It's a virtual wine tasting, and participants also get a $100 ad credit. The only caveat is those two things. You have to be running on Google or Facebook currently, and you have to be in the US just for shipping purposes. But yeah, that's it from me and my end. And I appreciate everyone's time here. So let me stop sharing and see if there are any questions.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. SEO, when I worked before this, a long time ago, I worked on the brand side, and we had a whole department for this for our Shopify Plus business, all about SEO, all trying to figure out how can we crack this, how we get on the first page, how we can get more backlinks. I think what you just showed and presented to a lot of people is so unbelievably important. And it's something that you need to know, and you need to be literate in if you're going to have an e-commerce store. So definitely check out Matt's offer, and check out Smartsites. You can pull up that. I don't know if you can pull that up again, just in case I don't know anyone those links, because I think they went a little fast. The the /Recart one and the /webinar meets, but take a screenshot. We'll also send you guys this recording again after. I mean, again, worst case scenario, reach out and hear what he has to say. And yeah, Matt, we have a couple questions here. How long does it take to see results from an SEO standpoint?
Yeah, it's a challenge, and people are at it from the beginning their website's launched until the day they sell, like you mentioned before. So realistically, if you started today, it's probably going to take 3 to 6 months to start seeing those results, which is why we recommend everyone starting as early as possible if they have a specific goal date in mind. But depending on the severity of the issues your site might have, doing changes or technical fixes in immediacy might kind of help or give you a brief lift in a shorter span of time.
Got it. And what are some of the benefits of SEO versus PPC? This one I definitely want to hear.
PPC, definitely do not want to take anything away from it. It's wholly important, a big part of any marketing strategy. But the difference is it's not as long-term of a strategy. So let's just say, for example, you are a new business, you're solely relying on your traffic and leads and sales from paid search. If you ever decide to stop doing that sort of marketing, you're basically going to kind of fall off the map. With SEO, you start at zero and you crawl your way up the mountain. But if you do decide to stop it for whatever reason or pause it, you're not just going to drop off. You're going to level out, but you'll still have built tons of really awesome content, which you can reuse, reshare, and you'll have it forever.
I love that analogy. I mean, it's so important. Voice crack too there. That was nice. Cool. And then we got one last one. What can I do on my own to improve my organic rankings? Yeah,
I think content is something that is often thought about but overlooked. Most people kind of just focus on making their website visually beautiful and put some of these other things to the back burner. Your customers, they want to read good content. Google wants to see good content. So if you have the time and the capabilities, certainly write about something you're passionate about, or if you don't have time, hire an agency like us to write it for you.
Boom, mic drop. There you go. There's the last piece of information we have for today for the BFCM webinar, day 1. Thank you, everyone. Tracy, Matt, Lewis, Kirill. Guess I got to thank myself too for how I was presented, but mostly thank you guys for joining, all the participants. Thanks for posting comments. Feel free to just start messaging right now saying bye or hi or like I can't wait for tomorrow, or I don't know, just something. It's we're nearing the end of the day. It's so yeah, just get some good energy out there. But I really want to sincerely thank everyone again, one more time, to our panelists. And again, to our participants. Check out tomorrow, same time. Not that I don't know if it'll be as cool, guys, but I'm just kidding. It'll be really good information across even 5 different areas we haven't even spoken about today, and we covered everything from messenger marketing and some SMS marriage to page building and some of the emotional qualities of that, to SEO, everything that you can dream about SEO, how to optimize that. It's a very important angle, to reviews, optimization, and of course to the tracking and shipping notifications that and the world around that was really fascinating, Kirill. So thank you guys, everyone, and yeah, that's it. That's what we got.
Thank you everyone for having me today. It's an honor.
Thanks, Nick.
I learned a lot today.
Yeah, me too. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you everyone in the chat tomorrow, and don't forget to take advantage of these offers. They are exclusive to this webinar. You guys literally have the secret. All right, this isn't something that you copy and paste and you put on Retail Me Not or whatever. This is for you guys, so take advantage of it. Again, worst case scenario, you have a conversation, right? Okay, thank you guys. Matt,
thanks everyone.
Matt, I also think you're the host, so you gotta end it. Such a bad.
Pass it back to you.
All right, passing it back. Cool.
Bye, guys.
All right, cool.
Goodbye, everyone.
No worries.
Have a nice day.
See you, everyone. Bye. Bye.